about to save you countless years of making terrible mistakes when it comes to installing your protective style and keeping your protective style, especially as someone who has 4B, 4C, low porosity natural hair. Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's Eve here. If you're a returning subscriber or you've watched loads of my videos before, you will know that I've already spoken a lot of times about protective styles, the kind of protective styles you should be doing, how you should maintain your protective styles, and the best protective styles you should opt for if your goal is hair growth, length retention, preserving your hair, preserving the health of your hair, keeping your hair thick and full. But in today's video, I'm going to be telling you some of the things that I did, which were terrible mistakes that hindered my protective styles from working for me. A protective style is a style that you do with the aim of helping you retain length, keep your hair healthy, lock in moisture, and keep your hair at its best state, aka healthy. When picking a protective style, it's very important that your protective style is low tension and low manipulation, and it's also very easy to maintain. You may not necessarily need to add extensions to your hair because most extensions dry out the hair, and so that negates the entire purpose of getting a protective style done. But you would instead, if your hair is long enough, especially if your hair is long enough, you can opt for making your hairstyles with just your hair. If your hair is not long enough, you can opt for using extensions like kinky extensions. They are safer and they don't dry out the hair so much, and they keep your hair in better condition compared to extensions like braiding hair or even things like Brazilian wool. So you want to avoid things like that. So while I give you guys 3 things that I did which were mistakes that hindered my progress in terms of using protective styles to grow my hair, I'm also going to give you 3 things which I did to bring my hair back from the digression from the progress that I had made before I started to make the mistakes. So I'm going to give you 3 mistakes, and then I'm going to give you 3 solutions to the mistakes. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining me for yet another video. If you're a new subscriber or someone who's just discovering my channel, I hope you like what you see. And if you do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell beside so you'll be notified whenever I post new content. Everybody give this video a thumbs up to help with engagement, to help this video get to more people who need to see content like this on YouTube and outside of YouTube. I have done about 2 solid years of low manipulation, low tension protective styles using just my hair, and that's how I was able to get my hair from this right here to this. So I've been able to double my volume. I won't say double my length because my length is just a little longer, and I've been able to completely transform my hair and scalp. I have healthier hair strands that don't have so much split ends. I have healthier hair strands that don't have so much single strand knots, and I have healthier hair strands that are healthy from my roots all the way to my ends. And if you are someone who is not too familiar with how protective styles work, you will not really experience these things because the hair may be thick at the roots and then start to thin out at the scalp due to the excess manipulation from the type of hairstyles you've been doing, or even the ones you call protective style. And the very first mistake is that I was styling my hair every single week or every few days with extensions, so without extensions, so in the salon, or by myself, or anyhow. I was just styling my hair every few days or every week because I could, and because I was just, learning how to make hair. So I had to try some styles to see if there were things that I could do. Because I was a hairstylist back then, I used to do the styles on my head first before I could do them, or before I ended up doing them on someone else's head. And that's the way that I learned. So because of this, I always had to be manipulating my hair, doing one hairstyle or the other, trying to figure out how these hairstyles worked, and also trying to serve up content for my audience. So while I was doing different types of hairstyles with extensions, all manner of extensions, I was also using all manner of products and all manner of tools like those Bristol brushes, like the gels, like the stylers, trying to get some sort of definition on my hair. And that just went sideways. At a point I realized I had to just leave all those things all together for a long time in order to get my hair. Mistake number 2, I was installing these styles on dry, unmoisturized hair. Now, because a lot of those styles were last minute, they were impromptu, and they were just a means for me to learn, I didn't always wait until I prepped my hair properly or moisturized my hair properly or even washed my hair properly before I did a style. Whenever I got inspiration, I'll just get all the tools that I needed, get all the extensions that I needed, bed and get to doing the style on dry hair. And anyone who knows that that is very damaging for hair. If your goal is length retention, if your goal is healthy hair, you will end up just costing yourself the hair you're trying to keep, because you'll be chipping away at your hair strands, you'll be chipping away at the shaft of your hair, and that will just make your hair become dry, become brittle, and you will start having those split ends that travel up each individual hair strand, causing the hair to be damaged. And that's not what we're looking for. So I had to stop doing that altogether. So instead of leaving the style and changing it every few days, I started to wear my styles for at least 1 week when I made them without extensions. 1 week, because when I made the styles without extensions, a lot of the time they had to be refreshed. So at the 1 week mark, I would refresh the style, or I would leave the style for at least 2 weeks, depending on how small the sections of hair were that I made for that style. Mistake number three, I was completely ignoring my scalp. Because doing these styles focuses on the body of the hair, I'll just touch my style, do the body of my hair, and I won't moisturize my scalp, I won't oil my scalp, nothing, until my scalp became extremely irritated and it was so itchy and very flaky. That was when I realized that I had to turn my attention to not only focus on the body of my hair when I was styling, but at least do something for my scalp that was going to enable me keep my scalp healthy. Because remember, the scalp is where your hair grows from, and if the scalp is not healthy, that means you're just wasting your time with whatever it is that you're doing. So I had to turn around and focus on my scalp and not just my hair. And that was when I was able to see some sort of progress in terms of retaining health, retaining length, and retaining volume for my hair. Mistake number four is going to be a bonus, because this one is not really something that I have ever done, because I have the luxury of being able to make my hair by myself. So I change my hairstyles at will. But if you keep your hairstyles in for too long, excessive amounts of time, there are people who keep their hairstyles in for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. I don't know if there are still people who keep their hairstyles in for a year. But if you are someone like this, you will need to stop doing that immediately, because the longer you keep that hairstyle in, even if you're upkeeping your hair and your scalp, the more your chances of experiencing things like those split ends we try to avoid, and even the single strand knots and a lot of tangles. If you get things like braids, or if you get twists, your hair will start to tangle where it was braided. So you want to avoid leaving the hairstyle in for too long. Instead, target 1 month, which is 4 weeks, at most 8 weeks. After that time, you can take down your hairstyle and do something else, no matter how much money you spent on the style. And try not to make your sections of hair too small, so that you can take it down after at most 8 weeks. Now, for the things that I started doing instead that really helped me transform my hair with my protective styles, the first thing is I started taking time out to prepare my hair, to care for my hair, to pamper my hair, to deep condition and moisturize my hair before I got any protective style done. I stopped using extensions for my protective styles. That is, let me say, that's the first solution. I completely took out extensions from my protective styles, and I have already said that I had to do this for 2 years. So for 2 years, which is 2023 and 2024, I didn't do a lot of extensions in my hair. I did my braids with extensions maybe once or twice for each of these years, and then the rest of it was my hair in the same hairstyles, month in, month out, week in, week out. So I just rotated those hairstyles and did the same hairstyles for 1 week, 1 2 week periods of time. And that is how I was able to completely transform my hair. So back to me having to prep my hair. Prepping the hair before any hairstyle is very important, because that's when you feed back moisture and hydration into the hair that has been lost, and your hair needs this moisture and hydration if it is going to thrive. So I took time out to properly care for my hair, and then moisturize the hair, apply all the right products, and make sure those products were very evenly distributed into the hair. I did this on one day, and then the next day, when the hair was a little dry or completely dry, depending on the style I was going for, I would then do my protective style and leave the hair alone for a week or two. Doing this was such a game changer because not only did it allow me time to properly care for the hair before the protective style and while I had the protective style in, but it also allowed me to not be so tired when I had to do everything, that's washing the hair, preparing the hair, and then doing the style on the same day. But it allowed me to rest a little, and so I was able to focus better on doing my protective style and not be forceful with my hair, which also causes snagging and excess breakage, which is what we are trying to avoid. So I was able to take my time and to really focus on giving my hair the proper care that it needed instead of rushing through the whole thing because there were a lot of steps involved and I just wanted to get it done and move out of the way. So that also fits into properly caring for the hair and pampering the hair before I style. It also fits into styling the hair when it was dry and unmoisturized because the hair prep now took care of the moisturizing and hydrating part of the hair care routine. And as opposed to very dry hair when styled, moisturized hair is better to style. It's more flexible and less susceptible to breakage, meaning your hair will not snag so much and your hair will not cut off so much when it is being styled. So before the styling, when I have finished taking care of the hair, when I have washed, conditioned, and deep conditioned, when I want to apply my product, I'll do a leave-in and then a hair butter. The hair butter locks in moisture for longer compared to sealing in moisture with just an oil. This has worked very well for me, but if your hair does better with an oil, feel free to stick with oil. Or if your hair does better with a butter after your leave-in conditioner, then it's also good to stick with that leave-in conditioner and hair butter combination to make sure that your hair stays moisturized for as long as possible after you style. Then for those of us who are fond of leaving the hair in for several months at a time, when I said you should bring down that time to at most 8 weeks or 2 months, the reason for this is because you will need to refresh your hair, you will need to wash your hair again, and you will need to re-moisturize your hair, clean out excess product buildup from the point of your hair where you made your style, and also condition your hair properly and give the hair and scalp room to breathe and reset before your next protective style. There is nothing wrong with leaving your styles for just a few weeks at a time as opposed to leaving it in for weeks and months at a time. And that's it. If you've been making protective styles and you've been wondering why the styles are thinning your hair out, making your hair very dry, and making your edges fall out instead of protecting your hair and preserving your length, then you will definitely need to listen for these pointers that I have just dropped, these mistakes that I have just dropped, and see if you were making any of the mistakes. If you are making any of the mistakes, remedy them with the solutions that I provided, and you will definitely see results. Remember, the goal of a protective style is to help you retain length and keep your hair healthy. So if that style you have in is not doing that for you, then you need to revisit your drawing board or your protective style mood board and pick something else that will actually help you. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you learned a thing or two. I'll see you in my next video.